What's going on? Grayson and Ashley here from Our Full-Time Adventure, and we are going over some things that are kind of in the deep end of, what people don't talk about when it comes to their rig. A lot of people talk about the pros and how great this lifestyle is and so on and so forth, but depending on your rig, there are cons with your rig. So we're going to talk about the things we don't like about our RV today. RVs kind of have these problems, but ours specifically, these are the things we do not like about our new camp Cirrus 820. So Ashley's going to start off here.
Oh, I think no matter what rig you end up getting, you're always going to find something you don't like about it. And it did take us a little while to even notice some of these things. And now that we've noticed some of these things, it kind of is something that is more and more annoying and kind of something that we'd like to change. And I know that you're looking at the title of this video and it says, the things we hate about our camper. But truly, there's literally nothing we hate about this camper. And we're just going to tell you some of the things that do bother us. So I'm going to start off with the first one. That is probably the most annoying one.
And so it's actually kind of hard, like Ashley said. It was kind of hard to make a list of things. But as you started making the list, we started going, oh, what about this? What about that? What about that? What about that? And it's kind of like a house. I mean, they are houses to some, like us, but there's never-ending modifications that always happen. And even when you do that modification, you think it's going to be great, and then you still need to change it because it's not as good as you thought it was going to be. So she's going to start off with one of our biggest irritations or pet peeves.
Yeah. So number one, so behind our bed, where our pillows are, right in the middle of our pillows, there is an outlet and there is USB charging area. And at first we were like, oh, this is so great. It's in the middle of us. We, can both have our charger and not have to worry about having to share and stuff like that. And we quickly came to find that it was very annoying having the chargers back there and the outlet back there, because as you're sleeping or just laying on the pillows in general, it knocks them out. So the fact that they are behind our head is not only annoying, but it's also could be dangerous.
Yeah, it's probably not the safest thing to have outlets behind. So I sleep on the driver's side of the bed, and that's where the 110 outlets are. They're behind the pillow. They're not between the pillow. The only thing that's between the pillow, as Ashley was stating, is the USBs and a cigarette lighter. And those actually ended up breaking because when your pillows are there and you have something plugged in, number one, the electricity already creates heat, no matter if it's 12 volt or not, which it's 12 volt. So that heat plus the pillows created more heat and actually broke the USB plugs, and according to the Cirrus group on Facebook, we're in 2 of them. This is kind of quite common, in at least our year. The 2017s, 2016, 17, 18, or whatever it may be, people did have their USB thingies breaking. So, and we all think it's, or at least I think it's because of the heat from, remember when it already creates, and then the pillows don't help it ventilate. So, probably not the safest thing. And I'm actually going to let Ashley cover this next one too, because I think it's funny. It bothers me because of something that comes along with it. But I guess it's another thing that's pretty common with this year Cirrus 820. And so Ashley will talk about it, and then after she talks about it, I'll talk about why we think it happens.
So this next thing is very frustrating. It's actually just something we noticed probably a couple weeks ago.
It's stinky.
If you watched our video probably a couple weeks ago now, and you saw us say oh, our shower is broken or whatever, and we thought it was the water jug that was in there spilling over.
Made the most sense.
We soon came to realize that was not what it was at all. So our water the other day was at 70% or whatever, and
same in that video, it was about 70%.
Yeah, and we were driving around, and we went in the shower to go to the bathroom, and it was the floor was soaking in there, and I was okay, yeah, it gets wet in there sometimes. Didn't really know why.
You thought it was the jug,
weird.
Yeah.
Thought it was the jug, and then we realized that it wasn't because of the jug, and actually the water from the gray tank kind of comes back up through the drain, and Grayson's going to explain why that happens.
So again, in the Cirrus group, if you have a Cirrus and you're not in that group, get in that group. If you have a new camp or whatever, new camp or anything, the tab, they probably have a group for that. But supposedly on the 2017 820s, might even be the 920s as well. But the P-trap, I guess people change it to a certain trap. I guess the P-trap doesn't really work that well, supposedly, the angle or something of it. So we're going to figure out how to plug that, because we offer it a lot. I mean, even just driving on normal roads, it comes out at 70%. And that's unacceptable because, sometimes we'll put dirty shoes or something on the floor so it doesn't track or get in our shoe rack. or we'll just leave them there, and then they end up being soaked. And it's like, what do you do with these? Do you clean them or do you throw them? Because like the gray water, yes, it's not black water, but it does carry an odor.
Yeah. It's not a good smell.
Yeah, not at all. It literally smells like, it doesn't smell like sewer, it just smells like freaking eggs. It's disgusting.
It does not smell good.
So our next thing that we're going to cover here that we don't like, at first we thought it was the coolest thing. We were like, this is so cool. We can probably change this if we need to in the future, but I don't think it's something that you can change. But in these truck campers / their travel trailers, they have little teardrops that New Camp creates. They have blue lights. So they're kind of like accent lights, like even the light is on above our head, and there's 2 lights, and there's still a blue thing in the middle. Mm-hmm. And then next to the bed on each side, there's these little reading lights, I guess you'd call them. But it's kind of hard to read with a blue light. But they are blue, and I think it's maybe to have a reading light and not distract your partner, like because the blue is less invasive for the eye. But it's kind of weird. I mean, I'd prefer, even any other color but blue would be fine at this point. I would take green, red, because you can only take blue for so long, and it's like, okay, like, the blue is nice at first. We loved it at first. It was we thought it was the coolest thing, but it's not really what you need if you're going to read, if you're going to work at night. It kind of just throws you off.
Yeah. Like, I like the blue. I think it's really pretty to just put it on, but not if you're actually trying to read or get something done. It's kind of like distracts my eyes. Pink. No, I don't mind the blue. I just think that for reading, it's not really the best light. But yeah, blue for reading light just doesn't really go together well. As an accent color, it looks great. Like at nighttime, if we have all just the blue lights on, it looks really nice, but it's just not practical when you're trying to read.
But I also don't think there's enough blue lights. So there's like, if we're going to have a lot of blue lights on at night, there's literally 3. So it's like, there's more lights over here, there's more lights over here. I think if you're going to do blue accent lights, they all need to have blue accent lights. Because we literally have 1 that can be here, 2 that are there. A lot of places we've boondocked, Arizona, Utah, a lot of people have red lights so they don't distract their neighbors. So like they'll have their red light on inside. And yeah, it makes me think of that song. It's like, put on the red light. You know that song? Yeah. Hopefully don't get copyrighted for that.
Alright, so the next thing that is kind of annoying also has to do with the bathroom. And there is a huge sink in there. It is honestly so nice. I love using it until we realize it just doesn't drain well. Like, it really doesn't. It's so weird. I'm going to put in the video here. You'll turn the water on. It will fill up the sink. And it won't drain until you pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down, and eventually it drains. And if you wanted to, you could shut it and all the water goes out the back. But it's kind of like annoying because then everything gets wet. So that's something we noticed that is just so annoying. Like, it's really not necessary to have 2 sinks in such a small space. Like, honestly, you can go to the bathroom and you can come out here and wash your hands and it's way more practical. But I do, like the option of having a sink in there, especially like if I want to, wash my face and get ready and have the mirror and stuff. Like, it does make sense, but at the same time, it's like.
But she never gets ready in there because the floor is always wet because of the gray water.
Right, I always come out here and get ready here. It's the whole thing. But yeah, that's kind of annoying and something that, I wish could be fixed, and I don't know if it can. I mean, we've kind of tried, but there's not really much you can do about it, I guess.
Just check the Cirrus group on Facebook.
Yeah, so
our next thing here is we have a step that goes up towards the bed, or towards the second story of our house.
The upstairs.
Upstairs. And if the step is not, like right now it's fine, but if it's not in the perfect position for some reason, it shifts for some odd reason, which, we offer it happens. You step on the step and it kind of like, it has like it'll move like 1/4 of an inch, but it's still like probably less, but it feels like a lot when you're stepping on it. But that happens very rarely, but there's no real like fix for it because you're not going to put a lock or something, or
because there's stuff under there.
We have things we like to access for, when we do work on the RV, if we ever do. And I'm not going to like screw it into the ground to unscrew it, or screw it into the, cross members to take it out every time. Plus that wouldn't look so nice. So it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Just make sure you push your step in before you walk on it.
Right,
for us at least.
You get used to it.
It's been like this since we got it. So
the next thing is we have all of these really great screens that, from the windows, they come down from the top. And even to go outside, you pull the screen across and it's a little pocket screen. It's so convenient and we love it, and it's like one of the biggest features we love. However, our little dog Oreo, whenever he sees another dog, another person, he gets really, really excited. And since there is nothing holding it down on the bottom, there's no structure to it at all, it literally, the cat can go under and Oreo can go under, and they do. So we've had Oreo run out a couple times trying to make friends with other dogs or other people. And I just wish there was like a better option maybe to, you know, keep it from not being able to get under as well.
Maybe like a frame around it, because like normal screen doors like have the frame.
Right. And I get it's like a pocket, but maybe there was a way to do some kind of like
folding pocket.
I don't know, something that could, you know, keep it in place. And same thing for the windows on the sides. It's very easy for the cat to poke her head around and stuff. And if you don't have animals, it's something you would never notice, and you'd be like, this is so great. And it still is so great, but it's like we do have to keep a little bit of a watch on them, which can be annoying, but you know what? It is what it is. It's really not a big thing. It's just something, you know, to consider that, you know, if you want to shut the screens and walk out, you're probably going to want to shut all the doors, because you never know if you might lose an animal.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. I think I was working on our truck or something, and out of nowhere, Oreo's running around outside. Yeah. I'm like, how did you get out here? And she's up here working or something on the bed.
Yeah, and then we realized what it was.
He sits there usually and just like looks. Yeah. And then, you know, he'll run out eventually, and Braden will stick his hand under there. So when you're opening and closing the door, he doesn't move. His head just smacks his hands. And it's like, okay, like she said, you don't notice until you have animals.
Yeah, exactly. It's something you probably would never even think about that. Yeah.
And so our last but not least thing here, we have an Aldi heating system in this rig, but we actually don't use the Aldi heating system because we have a diesel heater system. This has nothing to do with our system. It has to do with the Aldi still. The Aldi has a control panel on the wall. And when you're using your Aldi, which we never really use at the shower because we just go places to shower, and we only really use it when it's cold outside. But when you're using that Aldi, there's the screen on it. Yes, you can go over there and turn on the brightness, but it makes no sense because then in the morning you have to turn it back up. But at night, when you're running your heat, the light illuminates this whole area over here. And if you're anything like us, we like it dark when we sleep. That's why we have the camper with the blackout shades. That's why, you know, we put them up when we sleep.
Right.
But we like it dark when we sleep. So when there's a light protruding from somewhere because of something, it really messes with our head. Ashley will be like, the light's on, the light's on, the light's on. And I'll be like, I don't know how to turn it, like get it off without turning off the heater.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things. I saw somebody did build like a little flap to cover it, but I don't want to screw a flap into the wall just for the Aldi screen. Because during the day, I got to lift it up every time to look at it if it's cold out. So thank goodness we're going to Baja. We won't have to use it for a while. But yeah, that's one of my biggest complaints. And I guess another complaint now that I'm thinking about the Aldi system is there's two ways to run it. We don't run it at all. We just use that control panel for our diesel heater. But the Aldi system itself has electric or 110, so you have to have hookups to use it, or like a nice generator, because I think it's 2,000 watts, or 2,000 kilowatts. It's 2 kilowatts. And the normal heater, which is 5 kilowatts. So we replaced our propane side with a diesel heater, and that's 5 kilowatts as well. But it runs off a 12 volt, so it's great. But the side that runs off a 110 takes so much power and hardly really does anything that in our opinion, I think it's kind of almost useless. You might as well, yes, I realize that, you know, electric is needed, but 110 in a rig, like in that Cirrus group, most people take these and boondock with them. So to have something that's 2 kilowatts makes no sense. I think that if you just had the propane side, we're not fans of it, but if that's what they wanted to create, fine. Propane side, and then do a 2 or a 5 kilowatt or even a 7 kilowatt propane side with 12 volt controls. Yes, it'll burn your propane a lot, but it's a lot more efficient. The electric heat is not efficient at all. The biggest thing is that electric heat is not efficient really. It's really only efficient for heating your water, but it's still not efficient as diesel or propane would be. And it would be nice if they made a Aldi and diesel. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Even if it was a little bit more expensive, I think it's
definitely worth it.
That's worth it, yeah. We were just closing up the video and I thought about one more thing here. There's no vent. There's no max air vent. There's no vent in here. All you have is an AC unit. The only vent you have is the one in the bathroom. So to keep your door open, to run the vent all the time makes no sense.
That's true.
I didn't even think about that. It slipped right past me. So the only way to put a vent on the 2017 820 would be to remove your AC or to cut a 14-inch by 14-inch hole, which is not happening.
No way.
So there's no vent. So I think that right back here somewhere, even over the kitchen, there could be another vent. And yeah, they would say, oh, the structure's not as good. Well, then we need to build up the structure a little bit. I think the structure is great. I think it would handle another vent no problem. But we need another vent. The only one in the bathroom makes no sense to leave the door open. So, and yeah, the windows do air out a lot when you open up both sides, but it's not the same as a vent at night. If you crack the window and ran the vent, that'd be heaven. So, that is officially our last thing right there. I didn't even think about that. I was like looking around. I was like, can I think of one more thing? And she's closing the video. I'm like, baby, stop. Gotta do this.
After living in this truck camper for the last 4 months full time, these are some of the things we've noticed. And will we notice more things? Probably. There's always going to be things, you know, that could either be done better or that annoy you and maybe you can't fix anything about it, but you can try. These are definitely the biggest annoyances that we have come by thus far. Not anything bad about this camper. We absolutely love it and would not trade it for anything, honestly.
Yeah,
so it might sound like we're ragging on it, but we can do a whole pros list and that video will be like triple the length of this one.
Yeah, we'd only trade it if we had to for some odd reason, which we don't have to yet. Or hopefully never, because it's awesome. I mean, it's funny because our friends, you know, they use a joke. We're going to have this camper till the day it hits the graveyard. And I said to Ashley, like, that's great. We should say the same thing.
Yeah.
The only thing it is heavy, but we took care of that, so.
Yeah. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you aren't already, and hit the bell to be notified when we post our next video. We'll see you in the next one.
Stay tuned.
Bye.